Hey everybody, and welcome in once again as cricket presents the warm-up. This half of the screen, Neil Beasley, the better half, as it were, Ward, Fasold, and Ward. Man, some great state championship action, especially if you happen to live in the DFW area this past week. Huh?
Exactly. If you love DFW, man, we took 9 teams down there, and 9 teams came back with hardware, and 8 of those games weren't even close. We'll get into that a little later. My back's still recovering from shooting 9 games, but let's not complain. This isn't about complaining. It's about looking forward. So let's look forward.
And that's why you get the big money right there.
That's exactly $2.50 an hour. Your boy.
Minimum wage, baby. All right, let's get into the lineup presented by Soul Man's Barbecue. And basketball might be done, but boys, soccer playoffs are right around the corner. We'll start with preview from the boys. Dallas-Fort Worth area has always had some good boys soccer action.
Absolutely. Bi-district round starts Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All eyes are going to be on Walnut Grove. They are trying to defend their championship from last year in 5A. Mason Kutch is the name to know. 46 goals this year already. He's got over 100 for his high school career, which is ridiculous. That is mind-boggling. But somebody's going to have to try to stop them. They're undefeated, and they will be a big-time favorite. But if you look up in 6A, we got an undefeated team there, South Lake Carroll, but they also got those 8 ties, 14 wins and 8 ties. But, hey, no losses, and they're a favorite as well, along with a lot of teams up here in the north half at 5-6A with Flower Mound, Marcus, and Capel. You got Allen. You got Sam Houston and Arlington that's actually looking pretty good in 6A. Waxahachie, Plano East, and Plano West. There's a lot of good teams out there. Anybody could take it in 6A. 5A, it's all besides Walnut Grove, Frisco ISD is always a big favorite. They're bringing Wakeland, Heritage, Liberty, and Emerson, all those 4 of the top 10 in the area. Any one of them could make a run at Walnut Grove and whoever's out there in 5A Division I. And then Liberty actually has a tough first-round matchup. They're going to be taking on Highland Park, who's also a top 10 team, but they got to face each other right in the bi-district regional or bi-district game up in Kimball. So that's going to be an interesting first-round matchup.
And you mentioned SLC for the boys. The girls' SLC squad, not so bad either, are they?
Not bad at all. Ranked number 2 nationally.
Wow.
By Max Preps, and they're just crushing everybody. It would be an upset if they didn't find their way to Georgetown. Peyton Hayes, Caroline Holcomb, Aubrey Anderson. They're just a scoring machine there. But you can also look out for Forney, Rockwell Heath, and Saxe over in Region 2, especially Forney and Rockwell Heath, who really have some really great goaltending going on. Forney's got Cinnamon Hurst, and he's got Sarah Webb. Very tough to get a goal past them because they've got 14 shutouts each, so that's pretty nasty. And then also in 5-6A is dominating girls soccer as well. They got Marcus, Geyer, and Capel are all big favorites. Go down to 5A, Frisco, Wakeland. They're just doing what they usually do. They're always a huge threat. They're always going to be 4 or 5 rounds deep. Audrey Gilbert and Morgan Landry lead it there. But Lovejoy is going to be knocking on somebody's door there in 5A with Ella York. She scored over 40 goals. They're undefeated, just like Wakeland. They're going to be huge threats. And look out for the Midlothian schools, too. Heritage and Midlothian, they're both having great seasons. So down the south of the Dallas area, playing some good soccer as well.
All right, well, we touched on the boys basketball tournament, and wow, what a great weekend for the DFW area teams. In fact, Madison, Kimball, and Carter all winning, and 2 of those 3, the Smith brothers. I know you know a lot about them, Gerald Smith, Nick Smith, Madison, and Kimball, each winning, as well as Carter, and we got to talk to all of them, very happy coaches, and that is this week's Media Day segment.
The lineup is brought to you by Soul Man's Barbecue, true Texas tradition since 1974. Over 50 years of slow-smoked perfection passed down through generations. Taste the authentic flavor of Texas. Your favorite burger whenever you want it. Whataburger is open 24/7, just like you like it. Parker University. Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today.
We've always been really supportive of each other. I mentioned the other day in an interview, if I'm not playing that night, I'm going to be at his game. If he's not playing that night, he's coming to my game. One thing about we've always supported each other, regardless if we're arguing or not agreeing with something. At the end of the day, we want to win, and that's what one of the biggest achievements we always want to do is win, regardless what was going on.
I had several reasons. Like I said, winning this for Coach Graham, this thing at the end with me and my brother, possibly bringing one back, I was more nervous at his game than this because I wanted him to win so bad. But having my mom, she just, my dad, they don't get here. And they're in Louisiana. My dad couldn't make it because he couldn't make the drive. And my mom came, and just seeing her over there, man, that meant everything to me more than any championship, just having her there.
We knew we weren't going to lose. That was the whole thing. We was cheering for those guys. And just to see them, the way they went out and won the game, we was like, yeah, we can beat that. You know, we can do better than what they did. So, yeah, it was good to see them win that game. I just think the area that we at is probably the best area in basketball in the whole country. Because you got the Dallas area, you got the Mansfield area, you got the Arlington area. So these guys grew up playing against each other. So, it's just a competitive thing. And DISD, we take that personal. We think we the best basketball programs in the state of Texas. So we take it personal.
The Agenda is brought to you by Allegro Marinade. Whether you're the family chef, a backyard barbecuer, or a jerky-making genius, maximize flavor and tenderness with Allegro Marinades.
Discover what happens when rugged capability meets true performance. Kia, movement that inspires.
All right, it's time now for the Agenda presented by Allegro, and we're going to stick right with the DISD Day down in San Antonio, the recap there of the Boys State Championships.
Yeah. Like those coaches said, man, it was just an onslaught of DISD basketball. Carter tallied it off at the end there with Amari Hunter going for 21 and 10. He seems to be able to find his shot anywhere on the court. It's funny because that game was supposed to be 1 versus 2 if you look at the rankings, and it was like 1. It felt like 1 versus like 30 the way that they ran over him. And you heard Lyndon Love in that interview say, "No, we weren't going to lose." And I was like, how? Before they even got on the court, they're like, we're not going to lose. I was like, it's 1 versus 2. How can you know already? Well, they knew, and they certainly did it. Kimball and Madison, they did the same thing. It was cool because to have both their coaches' moms make that trip all the way from Louisiana. You saw Nick Smith getting emotional during that interview. It very special for them to get a win with so much family around them. And Kimball won with Paul Graham, their assistant coach. He's retiring. He was a former Coach of the Year bobblehead winner when he coached at Skyline. It was his last game as an assistant, and they let him hold up the trophy. It was an awesome moment. A lot of tears in that game. Jalen Hancock led the way for Kimball with 24, and Madison just ran Orangefield out of there by causing 28 turnovers. It's ridiculous. You look at some of the other new winners, like Little Elm. Little Elm's first time down there, you wouldn't have never known it. There wasn't a strike of nerves at all by any of these players. They're throwing alley-oops galore. They weren't acting like New Jacks at all. Josh Williams was out there with 8 assists. He's had 16 points. Ian Perry with 15 points. They were just having a lot of fun. Frisco Heritage had a lot of fun. Now, listen, every time they step on the court there, they have the 2 best players, as we always talk about, with Cam Lomax and Bryson Howard. But Cam Lomax struggled, so Bryson Howard just had to step up and go 28 and 15, nonstop dunks. He had 2 big-time show-stopping dunks that flipped the momentum when it got close to a 9-point game. He just dunked all over the place. And I'm going to tip my cap off to Zion Ninja, who also – while Cam was kind of struggling shooting, he made 2 huge threes to keep that distance between 5 and 10 in the first half, and then they just took off in the second half. Then we got Mansfield Summit. Mansfield Summit, nobody even talked about him all year, but all Amon Pritchard did was take his masterful coaching job, bring it down to state, win back-to-back. A freshman, Neil, Joseph Creel, a freshman, 6 3-pointers and 20 points, was MVP. He's got 3 more years there with the Jags, so maybe this back-to-back thing will add 4 more backs onto that thing the way he's playing. Then there's now North Crowley. You got Tommy Bracco down there winning their first title in probably 2 decades. They're out there throwing alley-oops off the backboard to themselves. I mean, it didn't work out for the Trey Hall who tried that, but they were having a blast out there as well. We just overpowered them on the court down there at State, and that's not even bringing up Live Pan and Paradise. Paradise was the only one that had a tough matchup, but they ended up coming back from behind and winning 52-51 over Westwood. Live Pan took care of yet another state title. It was just complete DFW domination.
Or it's kind of like you in our pickup games. I mean,
exactly. Back in. Layup. Your boy, that's what I do.
That's right. The bad news is hoops is over, but man, we got plenty of stuff. Baseball's still going, tennis, golf, and we leave you with the softball 6A area DFW rankings. Enjoy your games, and we'll see you right back here next week as cricket presents the warm-up.